Hi, my name is Shamieh, and I am the playwright in residence at the Classical Theater of Harlem. Our next guest is Tracey Scott Wilson, an Emmy-nominated writer and author of the story. Thank you for joining us.
I'd love to just hear maybe what was the hardest period of your career and how who helped you or how you helped yourself get through it. That's
Yeah. I guess one of the hardest times of my life, and I guess it coincided with career, I guess, was when my father passed away when I was 25. I was very close to my father, and it was very sudden. He was getting operating. He was on an operating table. He was getting an operation for prostate cancer, and they nicked him in surgery, and he bled out. And I was not there. I was living in North Carolina at the time, and I was flying home the next day to see him. And I found out that night that he died. And so I moved back home to be with my mom. They had been married for over 40 years, and she was just she was broken, and they had a great marriage, and they really loved each other. It was very difficult. So I went home to be with her, and I found myself for the first time in my life. I'd always written since the 5th grade. I'd always just wrote for whatever pleasure or whatever. It was just something that I just loved to do. And around the same time that almost within a week of my father passing away, I had also, because I originally wanted to be a novelist, and I wrote a novel, a satiric novel, and I got 30 rejections for it in one day, and it was like a stack of, because back then they used to just send the novel back with a rejection letter. It was just a stack of my novel, 30 letters and 30 envelopes, and so that coincided all at the same time. And my parents and my had always been so supportive of my career, and my Tracey's is so proud. And I found myself for the first time unable to write, unable to just, I was just really depressed and unable to write. I got a job writing computer instruction manuals in Manhattan, and I was, it was just, I just didn't see any way out. I didn't see any way out. I couldn't find my way out. I mean, I did have my friends who were very supportive and stuff like that, but it was just a darkness sort of came over me. And there's a colleague I had at work who had a brochure that said, at the 63rd Street Y. I don't know if they still have classes there. I think they closed that Y, but they used to have classes there instead of at the 93rd Street, and they had a playwriting. I just looked at the brochure, and there was a playwriting class being taught by Chiure Miyagawa, and I had never written a play before. I hadn't seen many plays. I could probably have, at that point, I've counted on one hand the amount of plays that I saw. And I was like, I'll just take this class just so I could write something. Maybe that'll help me if I just write, 2 words on a page. And I went and took the class, and it was sort of instantly. It was like that sort of feeling of falling in love at first sight, and I sort of instantly understood why. Like within 15 minutes, I understood why I got those rejections, and it was because I had been writing plays the whole time, and I didn't know it. And And so that was sort of the beginning. And that's just sort of, it opened up a whole world for me that I didn't even know existed. And it got me out of my head, and it got me into something else, because I didn't know anything about theater. I didn't know anything about, I hadn't seen any plays, so it sort of, I had something that I was able to be passionate about, that was able to sort of lift me out of the voices in my head, and the grief.
Do you remember what that first play or that first exercise you did with the story?
Yeah, it was one of those things where it was a picture of a family. It was like a family at Thanksgiving. It was a picture, and it was clear that there was everyone in the family had just had a huge fight, and everybody had a different expression on their face. Everybody had a different, and it was just like you just had to write whatever that, And I don't remember what I wrote or anything, but it was just so much fun. And we read it out loud, and there were actors in there. There were these actors in there, and I had never, encountered an actor before. So it was just like, and that sort of energy that an actor can bring to a space, that sort of, and I had never seen creativity like that. It was just very different, and so it just got something that got me very excited. So I immediately when I looked forward to the class every week, and Shuri took me under her wing, and I took her class again and again, and then she sort of took some people aside and had a private group, and then I started to usher shows on the whenever I could. I would usher a show so I could see it for free, because I didn't, I wasn't making much money, and then I would go to Lincoln Center Library whenever I could, and read a play, and then watch theater on film and tape department, and I would watch the play that I just read, and so I sort of put myself through this graduate school for 2 years. But in this, I was just meeting these other writers and all this kind of stuff, and then Shuri helped me to get a fellowship at New York Theater Workshop. The band there, it was called at the time, and that's when I met these other writers, and who are still today some of my closest friends. Yeah.
Shuri was the only woman of color taught me my graduate program, special.
Yeah.
So I'm fascinated with this idea of kind of training yourself as in that graduate way. Do you remember? I'd like to talk about your first. Van Leer for me was also a first break. I got it at the dramatist. But I'd love to talk about your very first production. Somebody actually put money to pay people to make your show a show. What was that like?
That was. It was. I remember everything was so exciting, such an exciting first. Like I remember the excitement of my first reading, and that was just, or my first rehearsal for a reading. Like I didn't even know, but the first, what was the first production? It was at this place called Theater Outrageous, and it was in Hell's Kitchen, right over the that Irish bar over there, that famous O'Malley's or whatever, that famous Irish bar. And it was like this really long, you go up these like 4 floors. And I remember because I got the playwrights, I had the playwrights handbook or whatever that they used to have to get the actual book. And I would just send out my plays and stuff I would just fill out, send it to agents. I would send it to, I would just send it to any contest that was free. I sent it into this theater, and they called me and said that they wanted to produce this play I did called Exhibit Number 9. And I was just, I was just, blown away. And I remember at one point in the rehearsal, there was a really horrible rehearsal, and actors were all fighting, and I didn't know what to do. And I literally was like, okay, I'm just going to shut it down. You're just going to forget it. And the actors were like, what are you talking about? It's like, this is how it goes. This is the process. This is the whole thing. But I was literally going to quit because I didn't know how to deal with all of the craziness. And I got a really, and I don't know how, but they got somebody at the Village Voice to come, and they got me, it wrote me a really lovely review. And it was really small theater. I mean, maybe it fit maybe 75 people or something like that. And I had this review from the Village Voice, and then from there, somebody from the public came, and it sort of tumbled off from there.
So I wanted to also ask you, you know, it sounds like you came from you started out with this idea of one kind of identity as a writer, and then you moved into theater, and then your next, I think, venture was television. Talk about what kind of skill sets you needed to make that kind of jump after having so much success in theater and kind of having a presence, and then having to go back and kind of have a beginner's mind and learn and do.
Well, I remember it was, I had a play. Diana had just done Stop Kiss. She had done Stop Kiss, and I was gearing up to do my first play at the Public, The Story. And I remember hearing that she had gone to LA to work on West Wing, and just started. And that was the first I heard of a playwright doing TV. And it was, because I thought, I would just be a playwright, and I would just, be Arthur Miller or something like Tony Kushner or something like that. And so that was the first. And then all of a sudden, more and more. And then Keith Joseph Atkins went out there, and sort of, it was so all these playwrights were sort of starting to do that. And then this agent that I had said, set me up to go to these meetings in LA. And I went out there, and it was like West Wing was there, and it was starting, and Grey's Anatomy, and all these, sort of, I guess, prestige network TV or something. And I went out there, once again, not knowing anything. Had this, this TV agent that I barely even met, who sent me on these meetings, 5 meetings a day. Spaced, maybe there was an hour between them, just for driving. And this is before the GPS was on the phone, and so it was like I had a friend who grew up in LA, and in between meetings, I would call him, and he would tell me how to get to the next meeting. I would have the map, and he would tell me how to get to the next meeting.
Not even MapQuest was pre-MapQuest. Wow.
Yeah, he was my personal MapQuest.
Wow.
And my friend Hilly Hicks, who I had a fellowship with at New York Theater Workshop. And I remember, at the end of every day, I would just have these, it was all these general meetings. I would just have these, have these blinding headaches at the end of every day, because it was just so tense, and it was just, I was out there for a week, and I had 20 meetings in 5 days, and nothing came of it. And then I did the same thing the next year, 20 meetings in 5 days, and nothing came of that. And then at some point in there, I got my first manager, who introduced me to a producer, and that's when I wrote my first script on spec. But she was the first one who, she was sort of, I was just going to these meetings, and I was just saying, I was talking like a theater artist, and it was just a language that they just did not get. Now you go into a meeting and you talk about, you want to write about class and race and politics. They want to eat, they want to eat it up. But back then, they would look at me like I had, 4 heads or something like that. They would just look at me like I was crazy, and I didn't know what I was doing wrong. But meanwhile, a lot of people were getting sort of these jobs in TV and stuff, and I sort of, and I just couldn't sort of, I don't know, I just couldn't break through, but I wrote a pilot. I sold a pilot, so that that helped. That sort of definitely helped sustain me. And when I saw the pilot, and I got into the Writers Guild, I mean, that just opened up my eyes to everything, because for the first time, since I got kicked off my parents' insurance when I was 25 or something, I had health insurance, and I was able to go to the dentist, and I was able to go to the doctor. I got braces, and I got glasses, and I got all these sort of basic things, and I was just like, oh, this is and it was a pension, and I was just like, oh, this is the way you actually are able to live, and as an artist, and also because I also was at the same time, it was, there was a sort of a community to being in a union, sort of makes things equitable, because you're a staff writer, you get this, and because in theater, I was going through a lot of this. I was having a lot of issues. I was having a lot of jealousy. I was having a lot of anger, and because it's just like, you're hot and then you're not, and then this person gets it, that person gets it, and it's very arbitrary. And you get $12,000 one year, and then next year you make enough, you make some good money, but it feels completely out of control. And then and when I was sort of able to get into the guild and able to get into that, it all that kind of was melted away, because it just there was a mythology to it. There was a system to it, as opposed to feeling as if, who knows why or what, So I was at the same time, I was, for a while there, I had to grapple with a lot of that.
Can I ask you, this is just something I'm asking the other guests, I'm very interested that you just, wrote something about Aretha Franklin, and the story also has a genesis in a real person. Did that affect how you kind of came at the project? The idea that somebody might see it, that might be based kind of on that, you know what I mean? Like, it's just me asking myself.
Yeah. I think, I think early on maybe, but then at a certain point, I'm sorry, it's my dog. At a certain point, you realize you have to treat the person like a character, and if you don't, you're just gonna end up just checking off boxes, like this happened, that happened. Hey,
I feel like your dog's like, don't write about me.
Yeah. It's like, you're just writing, oh, this happened, that happened, this happened. But you have to sort of treat him like a character and look at the arc of the life, and create a story for that. And so at first it's always sort of daunting to do that, but then you just look at it just as a character, just as you look at it as somebody you made up, because in a way you are making it up.
And it almost, because so many of us write about ourselves in disguise, or our family. I guess it's just one more extension from that.
Yeah, you like finding your way in, your personal way in. Yeah.
So, just my final question. I would love to know if you could have gave yourself advice, when you're sitting there, getting your 30 big packets for your novel.
Yeah.
Or, you get your Van Leer and you think this is going to be the answer that you want to do. And then, or, you know what I mean? You go for a week and you do 20 meetings and you have all this, you got to call somebody, they got to get you there, and, you're calling on all your inner resources to stay in the game. Was there something you wish you could have told your younger self as you were, navigating this, or some advice you'd give yourself, or something you had known?
Yeah, I guess, I mean, just that you just breathe. Just breathe, because what you think, everything is temporary, and whenever you feel like something is you're not gonna make it, it's too overwhelming, all you have to do You know, I remember sometime when I was in the middle of the grief of my father, I would just think, I just have to get to the next hour. And then I would think, I just have to get to the next half hour. And then I have to get to the next 15 minutes. Where I just have to get to the next, I'm just going to get through that. And then I'll figure it out what I'm going to do in 15 more minutes. And you just keep breathing. And whatever you think that is overwhelming you now, you're going to get through that, and then something else is going to happen. So seriously, if you just think about it, if you just break it down to however long, minutes, hours, a day, just think of it, just get through that next moment, and I guarantee you that feeling that you have that it's all over, it will pass, and it'll be something else. Maybe you'll feel angry, maybe you'll cry, maybe you'll feel something, but whatever that feeling is you think is going to drown you, you're not going to drown. Just breathe. Just keep breathing. You know?
That's incredible. And thank you so much. This interview has been such a pleasure. And it's, all I can say, I'm so grateful. I know how busy you are. Thank you.
Oh, no. Thank you for inviting me.
Hello, this is Andre Brower. Over the years, I've had the pleasure of attending several productions produced by the Classical Theater of Harlem. The magic of theater has always been its power to change the way we look at ourselves and connect to the world around us. I and my family are so inspired by the Classical Theater of Harlem's mission that I've proudly become a trustee of the organization. Classical Theater of Harlem's work in Upper Manhattan utilizes public and private spaces to bring culture, commerce, and vibrancy to the uptown community. Their approach to telling these complex, rich stories enables us to recognize that our similarities are far more compelling than our differences. We value the impact it has on the community, and I'm committed to see it thrive and expand in the years to come. In celebration of CTH'S 20th anniversary, we humbly ask to be part of your giving plans this season. We are launching our $20 for 2020 campaign, where we are asking supporters to make a recurring donation of $20 per month for the upcoming 2020 season. Your contribution supports emerging artists, empowers young designers, choreographers, and administrators, and ultimately, your contribution enables excellence. Please, join me in celebrating the work of the Classical Theater of Harlem.